Alright guys, Delzinski here, and today I want to talk about what many of you think is my specialist subject if you listen to We Talk. Yeah, you've got it. I want to talk about Sting. Because I watched Night of Champions like many of you did, and I was live tweeting throughout the pay-per-view. And I've got to say, first of all, the match between Rollins and Sting for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship was absolutely awesome on the night. There were some tremendous bumps that Sting took. You know, the announce table spot and the high flying off the top rope. I think Sting really did step up his game to go up against Rollins. And obviously Seth doing double duty as well. All the more credit to him for, putting it out for that period of time. Now, with that being the case, Seth Rollins got the victory, something that I don't have a problem with at all. I think that it was the right decision because obviously Seth is the future of the WWE, and I think championship wise it has to be someone like Seth to keep the company moving forward. The issue that I had was that once again Sting picks up another loss. The way it was done I didn't think was right because Rollins beat him clean. And I thought there was a lot of other opportunities that could have been looked into to make sure that Sting continued on a path coming out of Night of Champions instead of disappearing into obscurity once again, which seems to be the case. And I also thought as well that, Sting, how on earth has he got to a stage where he has now taken 2 big losses at major pay-per-views? And how on earth has he not got a victory yet in the WWE? He's been there for quite some time now and they've booked him twice to lose. And that has led me to the point where I've come to the conclusion, and the question that really does make this video is, have the WWE let Sting down? And my opinion at the moment is yes. They have let him down in terms of booking because he's got to a stage where I don't really know where he goes from here. And I think that's many people's views because I put out this live tweet today. I asked the question, what do you guys think of the WWE's booking of Sting? And you guys tweeted me back, and I'm going to read out your tweets in this video as well. So you guys are going to get your say, and as well, if you didn't get an opportunity to tweet me back, if you do want to tweet me in the future, follow me at Delzinski. But if you didn't get a chance today, then make sure you do let me know your views in the comment section below. But, I've come to that conclusion that I think that the WWE have let Sting down. And it's all been from day one, to be honest with you. If you cast your minds back to when Sting came into the WWE, the original storyline was that he was the vigilante that came in to take out the authority, to take down Triple H. Now, somewhere down the line, the WWE changed that storyline for it to become about Sting being the last remaining member of WCW, and Sting said it wasn't about that, but the WWE made it crystal clear that it kind of was, and even the booking for the match at WrestleMania became that way with the NWO and DX. I mean, go figure, how or why would the NWO come out to help Sting? He's a WCW guy, not an NWO guy, but nevertheless, it was kind of awesome to see it happen, but it didn't make any sense anyway. But, that match at WrestleMania, everybody I spoke to, I don't think there's a single person that thought Triple H was going to win that match. Apart from obviously Triple H and probably Vince, who kind of edged him on a bit to make sure that he did win. But, I didn't think anybody thought that that would happen. Sting was coming in for his first big match, WrestleMania. It was destined for a Sting victory, and it didn't happen. And that match there has been the damaging part, which has really, followed Sting all the way through his WWE time. It has just got, it has made so many issues for Sting. Because, if he had got that first victory, things could be so different. If he got that first victory, the loss at Night of Champions isn't such a big deal. It's just kind of cool the fact then that he was booked in a championship scenario. But now, he lost at WrestleMania. He lost at Night of Champions. He can't seem to find a way to beat somebody in the WWE. It almost looks like that the WWE are kind of booking him that he's not good enough to beat anybody in the WWE. What is this? Some sort of final burial for a WCW guy? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, you know, the other issue is the finish at WrestleMania, if you cast your mind back. Sting got hit in the face with a sledgehammer and then lost the match. You know, dirty tactics, fine, but then he got up and he shook Triple H's hand. Why would you shake a guy's hand who just hit you in the face with a sledgehammer to get the victory? And then, you know, to add insult to that, the next night, Sting almost came out like, you know, WWE didn't want anything to do with him anymore. Because he came out and he said, if the WWE wants me, I'll be around. When he was asked the question is, what's next for Sting? It was almost like he didn't know. The WWE hadn't really told him. It kind of confuses me from that point onwards because it's got kind of even more bizarre. And, you know, I've got to think in my head in the background that surely Sting has been guaranteed a big payoff at some point. But god damn it, it's taken a long time to come on. And the more it's going on at the moment, the more depressing it gets for a Sting fan. Now, coming up to Night of Champions, obviously Sting had been away. He should still really have an issue with Triple H. His issue with the Authority should continue. But because he shook Triple H's hand, it almost squashed that. Then Sting came back, you know, to interrupt Seth Rollins. I thought, oh, great, you know, possibly picking it back up with Triple H, saying, I'm not done. I shook your hand, you know, I gave you a bit of respect, but I'm still not happy with the way you guys run things around here. And what better way to get rid of you guys than becoming the champion? Brilliant. You know, the thing with the statue was great. I was well excited about that. Then the week after, Sting's come out and cut a promo about how he respects Triple H. And, you know, that Seth Rollins isn't a Triple H. He's not of Triple H's level. That, again, just confuses the hell out of me. Why is he showing respect again? Why? Why is he showing respect to Triple H? A guy that, you know, he came in to take out a power. And again, you know, he got hit in the face with a sledgehammer, lost in a dirty tactics at WrestleMania, but yet he has respect for him. I don't get it. So obviously he has no issue with Triple H. His issue was with Seth Rollins. So it really eliminates the point at Night of Champions where what they could have done is they could have had Triple H interfere in that match, which would have been perfect because he could have come out, pedigreed Sting. And if they built the respect thing that Sting was saying he respected Triple H, but then have Triple H still pedigree him, great. Even better, because it just shows that Triple H is a bit of a bastard and he's willing to still stick it to Sting. That would have been great. I would have really liked that. But, you know, they didn't go down that route and they just had Seth Rollins beat Sting clean. And then they had, you know, coming steam into the ring, Sheamus to try and cash in, and I'm thinking, whoa, excellent, we're going to get a cash in. And then obviously Kane, like he does, has to ruin everything, and he comes out and chokeslams Seth Rollins and Sheamus. Just on that point, if you're Kane and you really want to stick it to Seth, why the hell do you chokeslam Sheamus? Why don't you just, you know, chokeslam Seth and walk away, as they say? You know, and then Sheamus cashes in, takes the belt, the thing that's most prized to Seth Rollins, and it's the worst night ever for Seth. That would make more sense, wouldn't it, Kane? You know, but considering, you know, you haven't revamped your look or anything like that, then I guess you didn't think that far ahead. You know, just kind of annoying. I wasn't that excited with the fact that Kane had returned, particularly the fact that he just looked the same as he did before in the really rubbish demon attire that nobody has respect for. But anyway, that's for a different conversation. But, you know, what I'm getting at here is, meanwhile, while this is all going on, Sting is quietly walking away and again is disappearing into obscurity. Now, yes, Sting picked up an injury. We all know that. I hope he makes a speedy recovery. I think we all do. And I really hope that Sting does come back, because it would be a total shame and a total travesty if Sting does not get a victory in the WWE. And if he really is, you know, if this injury really is, you know, a career threatening one, and the WWE have not given him a victory, then shame on the WWE, because you had opportunities to do it and, you know, you dropped the ball at every point. Now, as I said, Sting kind of walked away, possibly because of the injury. But at the same time, by the way the match was booked, I really don't see that there was anything else coming for Sting out of this matchup. So it makes me think to myself, well, where was Sting going to go? And, you know, there's talk of Undertaker, WrestleMania 32. How on earth is a Sting going to take on The Undertaker? The Undertaker, yes, people say he's weak, but The Undertaker's in a feud with the Beast. That is a different beast in itself. The Undertaker is taking on Brock Lesnar and he's going toe-to-toe with him, whereas Sting at the moment, you know, has been toe-to-toe with Triple H and lost, toe-to-toe with Seth Rollins and lost. He's not on that level to, I can't even see him beating an Undertaker. And imagine if Sting then, you know, did beat The Undertaker. Imagine the outrage then, you know, if he did do that at WrestleMania 32, because people would be like, well, he lost, you know. It just kind of screws with the whole excitement that was meant to be Sting versus Undertaker. And as well, you know, I think if Sting doesn't get a victory under his belt and they are angling towards Sting versus Taker, it doesn't make any sense. Sting needs to get the big victory first to kind of get him back on track for that. But there seems no indication of him ever getting that. And that match was Triple H at Survivor Series. That match should have happened. That should have been the culmination. The build should have started at Night of Champions. So you kind of catch my drift. And I really don't see Sting versus Taker. I think it's lost its novelty now. And it's a shame because it was always the one I looked forward to. And I guess I'm probably not ever going to see it. But if I do see it now, it's not what it should have been. Really, it should have been from day one, Sting coming in, mind games against The Undertaker, and it was going to be such an awesome build. And yes, the guys are older and it probably should have happened sooner, but it still could have been done in a fantastic way. With Sting losing these matches, it really just takes that away from the big fight feel that match really could have had. So, you know, guys, you've got my view on it. This is what I think, and I'm just being brutally honest. I think there were so many scenarios and the WWE haven't gone down any of them for Sting. And I asked you guys the question as well, what you thought of the booking. So I'm just going to read out your tweets as well. And if you've got any questions, I'll read them as well. So the first tweet, and obviously the question was, you know, what do you think of WWE's booking of Sting since he arrived? And the first tweet that I got was from The Best in the World Show Off. That's his Twitter tag. In one tweet, more like one word, awful. And I agree with that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think it has been awful because he should have won at WrestleMania 31. And yeah, if he'd lost to Seth Rollins then, wouldn't have been such a big deal. And then he could have, you know, angled towards that match with The Undertaker. And if he lost that, it wouldn't have mattered because he still would have had his big moment at WrestleMania 31. But can I honestly say I'd be happy? Could Sting honestly say he'd be happy being booked in 3 matches? Triple H, Seth Rollins, Undertaker, and losing them all? No. That is madness. For an icon, he deserves better than that. If Vince is just going off the WCW angle, you know, get over it. I had another tweet. Mufta, you know, he's one of my mates on YouTube. He doesn't do it so much anymore, but his point was they've presented him in a way where he is so irrelevant. And personally, I only ever wanted to see him face Taker. And yeah, I completely agree. The way he's been booked, they've made him irrelevant. They have. Because, like I say, it's difficult to see how he can be credible facing The Undertaker now. The next tweet that I had was from Jordan S. Monk, so that's your Twitter tag. Shambles. Only reason H went over, which is Triple H, is because Vince is bitter. Thought he'd win that, then lose at the next Mania to The Undertaker. And that really is a good booking. Because Sting would have got his match, got his victory at, you know, WrestleMania 31 and then lost at WrestleMania 32 and had that retirement match that everybody thought could be on its way, but difficult to see now. So yeah, completely agree with you, Jordan. The next question and the next tweet that I had was from Skino Gaming. I hope I got that right. Do WWE want us to think that Sting is the underdog? I guess, but he's been billed, when he comes back, he was always billed quite strong as like the master of the mind games, only to then lose. So I would never say he's quite an underdog, to be honest with you. He shouldn't be classed as that. But then he goes on to say, should have won at WrestleMania. Completely agree. And then lost at Night of Champions. Seems to be the same consensus as what I've come to. Seth and Sting, again, he wanted to see that again. And then sets up a match with Seth and Triple H. That booking's fine with me, and it gives Sting something to move on to. And once again, at the moment, can anybody see where Sting's going from here? No, not at the moment. Next tweet, Callum Williams. He says to me, and that's Callum W 1995. He says to me, my view is that Sting must know something was coming from this, or he wouldn't sign a deal to lose every match. And he also says I'm awesome, so thanks. Nice one, mate. But yeah, that is the one thing that plays in the back of my mind, that there is a big payoff coming. But like I've said before, we're waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing's coming. So I'm not sure. The next one that I got was from Callum Jordan now. He says, How would have you booked Sting, and should you have him face different people? I would have booked him to beat Triple H. I don't think I even would have had the match with Triple H. I think I would have gone straight in with Undertaker, and I would have done a really long year build, and I would have done all the mind games possible. If I was going to pick someone new for him to feud with, Bray Wyatt would have been awesome. If Sting had won at Night of Champions, I would have booked him to go in a different direction with the championship, with a feud against the Wyatt family, and it would have been all about mind games. Bray Wyatt with that supernatural side, Sting, can play those games as well. I think it would have been the perfect scenario, and ultimately have Sting then, lose to Bray Wyatt and put Bray Wyatt as the monster heel of the company. That's what I would have done. Next one, Thomas, I think this is, it's Thomas, I think it's Thomas Stantone, and your Twitter tag is that guy, 1T, I think that is. You say, honestly, his booking has been great from day one. They are treating him as a legend. He is, and he is doing what legends do: lose. Don't know if I agree with that. You're a legend doesn't mean you have to lose, but okay. And I did ask the question back to him. I said, well, that's an interesting way to look at it. And then he went on to say, I mean, at least for me, if Sting had a problem with any of the things that he's doing, he wouldn't do it. I think we can all agree there. And yeah, I agree. But I think Sting's a nice guy. And I think that Sting, is happy to be in the WWE. But like I said, if you think about guys like Hogan, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, would they have ever let themselves, lose, 2 matches on the bounce and not have a comeback match to redeem themselves? I doubt it. You just have to look at Cena Rusev, Cena Owens, Cena anybody. He always got his match and always got his own back. Sting's not getting that opportunity at the moment. Next one is from Benjamin Barrison. That's Ben, I think it's Ginster. It says, frustrating. One word, simple as that. I'd agree with that. Stuart Proctor says, correct decisions, just done in the wrong way. Yeah, I still wouldn't have booked Triple H to go over, but there you go. And so, that kind of brings me to all the end of your tweets. A lot of you guys agree with what I'm saying, and I agree with you guys in terms of the booking. But yeah, I just ultimately feel that the WWE is letting Sting down. So guys, let me know what you think by the comment section below. And if you do want to get involved in my conversations, because I'm going to try and make a few more videos like this, then make sure you follow me on Twitter and tweet me when I put out the questions, and you will get featured on my channel in these big debates that we're going on about. So yeah, guys, thanks for listening, and it'll be interesting to hear your views of where you think the WWE have let Sting down. Let me know via the comment section below, and all that's left to be said is please rate, comment, and subscribe. This is Delzinski, signing out. And yes, I just did a John Cena. It will never happen again. Oh dear.